Good morning, friends. I hope everyone is well today. I am well. Today I'm going to talk about my ADHD diagnosis. Um, I do have had the situation my years since my diagnosis where I've had one professional say, yes, you have it. Other professionals say, no, you don't. Or just as many professionals say, no, you don't have ADHD, yada, yada, yada. And so it's made me question because I don't want to have ADHD. Do I have ADHD? Because I do have other diagnoses that have same or similar symptoms and difficulties. I do believe I have ADHD. If I don't have ADHD, I have a very good copy of it. I have a very good duplicate because I just totally have the difficulties and problems that ADHD people experience and symptoms and things like that. What I'm questioning today is not whether or not I have ADHD, but that's for another video, I guess. But today's video is questioning whether or not I have ADHD inattentive or ADHD hyperactive, because when I was diagnosed, which was in my 40s, I was diagnosed with at that time they still called it ADD inattentive. So I was diagnosed with ADHD inattentive. And I have often wondered if it wasn't really ADHD with the hyperactivity myself. And so going over an article that um, I've read, symptoms in women, ADHD symptoms in women, it differentiates the symptoms between the inactive and the hyperactive. And so today's video is discussing, which do I have, um, inattentive or hyperactivity. And so let me just get this, and sorry to be looking away. Looking at the inattentive ADHD list, the things that it lists are things like not paying close attention to details, check; making careless mistakes in schoolwork, check; trouble staying focused, check; being easily distracted, check; being disorganized or messy. I do have a history of that. Forgetting routine tasks like household chores. I forget a lot of things. Appears to not be listening to spoke to. Not following through on instructions. Difficulty organizing and completing tasks. Failing to meet deadlines. Avoiding or disliking tasks that require sustained concentration. Frequently losing things like books, keys, or school papers. I do have trouble with all of those things, but I'm 67 years old. I have learned to deal with some of those things, and I'm not quite sure if I learned them entirely on my own and adapted, or if I learned them in ADHD class. Because when I was diagnosed in my 40s, I was sent to ADHD classes for uh, weeks of instruction in how to deal with ADHD problems that I would encounter, and tips to do those. Since I don't remember anything from the class except avoid caffeine, I don't remember what they taught me, but that doesn't mean I'm not using things they taught me. Or did I learn them? Oh, this works. This keeps me out of trouble. This gives me assistance and things like that. I still struggle with a lot of them, like not following through on instructions. I I just never seem to read the whole instructions or get the whole instructions, and so I have to mess it up and then go back and examine the instructions and go, where did I go wrong, or things like that. So I do have a lot of problems following instructions, particularly if they're verbal. When I was diagnosed, I was told that I only understand about 40% of what I hear. Not in a I'm not smart enough to understand. I just don't catch it. I don't filter it. I don't process it. So I only um, am acting on a limited interpretation of what was said and what was going on. And I have found that to be true. When I first heard it, I was like, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. And over the years, I had to go, oh, I guess that's true. That's real. Um, I will react emotionally to things that I only caught half of what was said, or misinterpret what's happening at the moment. So that kind of thing. But so I do have the symptoms to inattentive ADHD, but I have like the being disorganized or messy. People who know me well would say I'm very organized um, and not I'm not nearly as messy as I used to be, but a lot of that has been adapting and learning things. I have figured out I have to be organized, and I have to have everything written down, and I have to have things in 1, 2, 3 order and stuff like that, or I simply cannot function at all. At all, I have to have everything in a certain spot, and if it's not in that spot, I lose it or can't find it. I can't. If I set my keys somewhere else, who knows if I'm going to find them, because God knows where I put them, if I was not paying attention to what I did. So I have to be very in a routine in order to function. Otherwise, it is chaos. It's just, and very upsetting and frustrating, because like I said, I can't find anything. I can't do anything. I can't, and it causes me anxiety because I get distressed when things get unorganized, or when I get behind on stuff and things like that. I don't recall ever failing to meet deadlines. I am one of those people who leaves things to the last minute, so it's an emergency and you got to do it as fast as possible. So I was always having to do I always have to do things in a hurry, as quickly as I can. Um, but I don't recall getting into trouble for failing to uh, meet the deadlines. It's just maybe I did a sloppy job because I didn't have enough time, because I did it at the last minute and things like that. Um, but yeah, looking at these, I have gotten some, like forgetfulness. I am very forgetful because I have a 2-second memory. It's just nothing stays. I don't have any kind of memory hardly about so many things, that everything. So I have to write everything down, and if it's not written down, that I can go back and look and figure out what I'm supposed to, even the daily things that I'm supposed to be doing. I have to write a to-do list every day, and a lot of times it's just the same stuff written down, because otherwise I won't know if I did it, because or I won't do it, because I can't remember stuff. I can't um, keep on track unless I have it organized and stuff like that. But when you look at the um, symptoms in women for hyperactive impulsive ADHD, which is not what I was diagnosed with. I was diagnosed with the first one. The symptoms that this lists are fidgeting constantly, difficulty staying seated, talking excessively, difficulty playing quietly, difficulty waiting their turn, such as in line, interrupting or blurting out responses, acting or speaking without thinking, trouble keeping on one topic, making and losing friends quickly. And if you when going through the list the very first time, it was like, yes, it was not just a, oh yeah, it was like, oh my God, yes, oh my God, yes. The fidgeting constantly. I've always gotten on people's nerves because of my fidgeting. I can't be still. I'm currently having acupuncture and having to lay on that table. I'm not sure if she's keeping me laying there a half hour or an hour, but it feels like an eternity. It's like I can't talk, I can't move, I can't, so I'm just constantly moving and stuff. I'm not one of those hyperactive kids that are bouncing off the walls and running around. I've been morbidly obese my whole life, and that's literally held me down, made me less active and moving. So I'm not one of those people who can do a lot, because especially now, I'm in a lot of pain, and I'm not very mobile, and so I'm not constantly um, walking and running and doing a lot of physical stuff, but I am constantly moving and flexing and this and fidgeting, and I do have nervous tics. I have, I pet my hair a lot. I do things like that, but I'm always moving and like I said, I'm one of those people who sits at tables and taps on the table and people that really bothers them. Stuff like that. Sitting still or being seated is hard, very hard, and uh, I I have the talking excessively so bad. I I have a lot of people that just don't like to even be around me because I won't shut up and things like that. It's been a big problem. It's a problem when I meet with people and workers and won't shut up when I need to stay. I can't get focused or stay on task because I'm talking so much. I have a really hard time listening to people, letting them talk and not interrupting them. I I can be thinking, shut up and let them finish. Don't, I can even be thinking it and I can't stop myself. I can't stop. I can be thinking, shut up, shut up. They need to leave. They're obviously trying to leave and want me to stop talking, and I can't get myself to stop talking. So I definitely have that problem. And it's been a big problem. I don't know any tips or try this, because obviously my brain screaming shut up doesn't do anything. Nothing shuts me up. It just doesn't. And even though different periods in my life, I have gone through periods where I didn't talk at all. When I was 14, I was so depressed I didn't talk for a whole year hardly. And when from 2011 till about 2017, I was over medicated, and of course, maybe it was more 2012, 2013, up until 2017, I was over medicated and I did not talk at all, hardly. And so, like, there are young family members who don't even know that I talk excessively because not grow up with me saying anything. So it does, is affected by things, but I'm not over medicated anymore. So now I can't shut up again. I used to get in trouble at jobs for talking too much, things like that. And it's always bothered me that I can't keep from interrupting people or blurting out um, when they're talking, because I'm wanting to, be in the conversation and be polite, nothing else. And then acting or speaking without thinking. I'm very, very impulsive. I do that so much, and I have not gotten a handle on that either. So I do embarrass myself, or I have a lot of regrets often because, I just, I am a little better about speaking without thinking as far as controlling that compared to some people, but not as much as I would like. Um, and then trouble keeping my on one topic. I can't tell a story. I can't talk about a thing. I can't nothing and stay on one topic. I bounce to I call it bouncing. I bounce when I'm trying to do a task. I get so frustrated because it's like, could we just do one thing in its entirety? Could we, I start 40 things through the day and maybe get nothing done because I'm bouncy, bouncy, bouncy from doing things. Well, I'm the same way talking. It's like I'll be telling you one thing, I'll bounce to this. Some people can't even follow my conversation because I bounce so much from talking and get talking too fast a lot of the time. So they're like, what are you on? And stuff like that. As far as making and losing friends quickly, when I first saw that, I was like, no. But now that I keep thinking over the past, it's like, yes, I did. Um, I have had trouble in personal relationships with um, that type of issue. Not all the time, but it has happened. Or problems I've had with friends have been because of um, I don't know if it's entirely ADHD or if it's depression related or things like that. But because I'm a highly reactive person and extremely sensitive and stuff like that. So I think from me looking at, because I've always suspected they were wrong, that I did have the hyperactive, even though I'm a sedentary person, so I think of a hyperactive person as somebody who's, busy, 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 and up and moving. But my weight has kept me sitting down or laying down a lot, and my health has kept me down. But even when I'm sedentary, I'm moving constantly. I'm have the impulse to do stuff. I just don't have the physical ability to do stuff. If I could do what I am, feeling like doing, I would be moving all the time, or doing stuff, or things like that. But even when I'm sitting on my bed, I'm doing something. It's just not, I can't just, I'm one of those people who can't relax. It's like meditation is impossible. Sleep is getting pretty impossible, and things. I can't relax. I got to be doing something, um, or bouncing. I'm bouncing off the walls, so to speak. Anyway, so I suspect, even though I have not been diagnosed that by the professionals, but I can't really depend on professionals anymore, because, like I said, I've had just as many say I don't have any signs of ADHD, or I don't have ADHD, as much as the professionals who said I did. I tend to think the ones who said I did make more sense and are correct, simply because they did more extensive testing, whereas the ones who said I did not have it had talked to me for like an hour, half hour, very limited contact. I don't think you can tell them, especially with my anxiety. I'm probably withdrawn into myself, and not being myself necessarily. I'm performing for you in public kind of manner, and so you're not even seeing how I normally am, and things like that. So that's my take on it. That even though I may not be like people think with hyperactive, I have those problems worse than I have the inactive ones. I do be, and that's mainly because I've learned skills to deal with the inattentive, or inattentive things. I've learned skills, so I have some, not all, of those limited control, whereas the ones for the hyperactive symptoms, I have them, and they're really excessive at times, and they're impossible so far for me to control. So anyway, that's the my take on that subject of questioning my diagnosis. Do I have inattentive or hyperactivity? I still suspect I have ADHD with the hyperactivity, but my diagnosis is inattentive. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Have an awesome weekend, and I'll see you again next time. Thank you so much.